Hello and welcome to Live at the Backhouse Season 3. Yay! We got energy. Yes. Well, Live at the Backhouse is a marketing platform that highlights small businesses, authors, and various topics of interest. And I am your host, Vanciel English, aka Coach V, and I thank you so much for joining us tonight. But before we introduce our featured guest, we would like to thank our segment sponsor, Marilyn Caparini, and she is sponsoring with Kangen Water. Change your water, change your life. Yes. Excellent. We will also like to thank the owners of the Backhouse, Mr. and Mrs. Derek and Tara Purnell. And the Backhouse is an event venue that provides intimate space. It's very intimate. You should really be here. Come to the studio audience now and again. It's a great atmosphere and it provides an intimate space for you to create grand memories. So don't forget, yes, clap for that. You clap for that. Yes, you can. So we ask that you share the live. You have a share button in the bottom of your screen. So please share the live. Also, if you join us, just say hello, comment. You can put emojis and interact with us all throughout the show. So please let us know you're here and you are watching. Now, I am pleased to introduce our featured guest, Miss Mary R. Miller, who is an author, a speaker, and the founder of Dream Catalyst. Mary, welcome to Live Back. We are happy to have you, and it's always nice to get exciting guests. I mean, when I saw Dream Catalyst, I was like, I cannot wait to interview her. So I'm very excited. So I know you had said before you were a writer too. So how are you feeling tonight?
So I'm a little nervous. I do speaking, but when you're speaking, you're in front of people and you're doing the speaking. It's different than being asked questions. So most of my processing is through writing. So this will be interesting.
Yes, she is writing with her lips tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Writing with her lips. So we are going to get started with a question I know you have probably heard on some of your interviews in the past, but tell us a little bit about yourself and who Mary Miller is.
Okay, so first and foremost, I love Jesus.
Amen.
I love Jesus too. Yes.
I am kind of goofy. I like to take things apart, build things. So I'm part engineer, part writer, part author. There's a lot of different things I like to do. So that's a little bit about me.
Yes.
I'm not good at talking about myself, so.
That's okay. I have plenty of questions that'll get it all out of you. But no, so my next question is, what experiences actually led you from a bachelor's in mechanical engineering to an MBA and ultimately to a coaching certification?
So when I was growing up, I was actually talking to somebody about this today. I have two brothers, and actually it was the one that worked with my dad most of the time to help fix things. So I always liked fixing things, working with my hands, doing things like that. So
where do you fall? Are you like the youngest, middle child?
I'm the baby.
You're the baby. Okay. It's great being the baby.
It's great being the baby. They always say I'm spoiled, I'm not. So I would work with my dad, and then I ended up going to engineering school because those are things I was good at. I was good at math and good at science. So I chose to do that, and then early in my career, I realized that I didn't like the way leadership was working at my particular company I was at. So I decided to do something about it and actually pay for my degree. So I went to school to get my MBA. And then I did a lot of operations, led a lot of engineering and manufacturing type companies. And then I got to a point where I wanted to start my own business, so I bought a franchise and I opened a business coaching practice.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it's just kind of one of those things that you don't plan to happen, but it kind of gradually happens.
Now you said that you believe in Jesus, you have Jesus at the forefront. Do you think he had anything to do with your trail and journey?
Just a little.
Just a little bit. Well, that brings me to my next question, and I know I've been waiting to ask this. What is a Dream Catalyst?
So Dream Catalyst is like an online home for Christian women to help encourage and educate them, to help them get past emotional obstacles so they can claim their dreams. So a lot of times people talk about, I'm here, I want to claim my dream, I'm here. People don't talk about the journey and how sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, it is.
So a lot of my writing is to talk about the challenges. So even though we have hope and we have faith, the reality is sometimes it's just hard.
It is.
And a lot of people don't talk about the hard part. And so I try to encourage and educate in those areas.
And we really need that, because you see someone who has an idea, and then as they go through their journey, then it's like, ta-da, I'm famous, I'm successful.
It never happens that way.
It never happens that way.
Yeah.
But to be open, to be able to share, you know, the obstacles and to learn from them. So you actually just kind of take them along that path and that journey as a dream catalyst.
Yeah, so it helped, catalyst is a chemical reaction where the catalyst doesn't get used up, basically. So the whole idea of what I do is to help push people along and to go to the next step. I always say every day if you spend 15 minutes on your dream, you're getting closer to it.
Definitely.
So don't give up, keep on working to it. God planted a dream in your heart, and it's kind of your responsibility to do it.
It is. It is. Can we clap for that?
Yeah.
Definitely. So is catalyst an engineering term?
So it's a chemistry term, and I hated chemistry, but yeah, it's a technical term. So I kind of got the dream, the softer side, and catalyst, the technical side. But the catalyst is really to propel people to move forward with their dreams and to not give up, and you might have multiple dreams throughout your life and they change. But the thing is that they're part of what makes us who we are, and God gave us the gifts to be able to do different things. And the catalyst part is to help people go out and step out.
Step out of the boat.
Yeah.
Yes, step out of the boat. Because people get stagnant. I mean, and I can imagine with the pressures of every day, especially since your target market is women. I mean, they have families and children and jobs, and you know, and you have this dream in your heart, and you're just ready to get it out. So that's awesome. That's an awesome gift.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. So what was the inspiration behind Dream Catalyst?
That's
Yes, it's a secret.
So I excelled pretty quickly in my career, and so by the time I was 30, I was a manager, or I had a really good success in my career. And so I got to a point where I was living somebody else's version of success. I didn't know who I was. And so I got to this point where I didn't even know what my dreams were. I didn't know what to do. I was very stressed out. So I actually took leave of absence from work, because I had to figure out what I wanted to do, and the stress of being in the wrong role is very stressful on yourself and on your body.
Yes.
And so from that point, I actually talked to the person I work for and said, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but 6 months from now, I'm not gonna be here. And that's when I started my coaching business. So that started a journey towards my dreams, and figuring out what my dreams were, and some failures and some successes. And that's really what was the catalyst for the catalyst for starting this, because I went through something pretty difficult, and I wanted to help other women go through that process as well, by having been through it myself.
Yes, and I'm sure there's a lot of women that can benefit from that, because there's probably a lot of you out there watching us that are ready to put in a leave of absence at your job. And honestly, because if you are stuck in your job, I mean, this goes for men as well, and you're like, what else is there? What else do I have in my heart that I want to do? And I mean, it was definitely a blessing for you to be able to take that time off to go, maybe I can think about it, you know, and just go forward, and then to birth this in the midst of that, it's just, I can tell that is the gifting and the purpose that God put on your heart and your life to guide and direct others in the same direction.
Exactly.
Excellent. So let's see. Now, reading on your website, I did see that one of your core values says, well, it has to do with that Jesus can change people. Can you elaborate on that core value?
Yeah, that core value is, I think there's a lot of personal development and self-development that we go through. You're gonna say positive affirmations, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and it's gonna change you. And I think the reality is Jesus is the only person that can change another person. And so through scripture, through reading his word, and through prayer, I think if we do it divorced from him, we have temporary changes not sustainable. So I think the only sustainable change is and I don't want to forget that in my own business. So that's why it's a core value. So I never forget that every time I write, every time I do something, that he's changing me. And so I have work to do, and I have things I need to do. But the reality is I can't change myself, I need his help.
Right, right. And you recognize that on a personal level. And I think that's very important for people to also know, because we tend to think as humans that we can change someone else.
Right, and that's, we compare to another person, and we have expectations higher for another person than ourselves, and we think that, I mean, how many times do women do that? They marry somebody, they're like, oh, I'm gonna change them. That never happens, right?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. And I remember a time in my life where I was frustrated with someone, and I just remember the Holy Spirit speaking to me and said, I was patient with you during your development, so you have to be patient with them as I develop them
That's
as
good.
well. And I know it couldn't come from anybody, but, and I was like, wow, okay. So then you kind of take a back seat, but yes. So I know you mentioned before that your target market was women, but what does your program look like? I know there was a few things on your website, so what does the program actually look like?
So I have a couple different things. I don't have a formal program. I have a book that I wrote. It's called Birth of a Dream Catalyst, and so we'll talk about that later maybe. Okay, should I talk about it now or later?
We can touch on it in a couple of questions, but
Okay.
no, yeah, we're gonna show it.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is the book. It's the Birth of a Dream Catalyst, and it's really when I started my journey on myself, and when I birthed Dream Catalyst. It's about a woman that was basically a workaholic and was working a lot, and she couldn't figure out who she was anymore. And so, because emotions are so hard to explain and they're so intangible, what I did in the book is it's actually illustrated with still photography.
Wow. So that's not Miss Work Ethic, is it, that you were referring to?
That Miss Work Ethic is one of them.
Oh, wait till I tell you how I know that. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so this is an example of one of the pages, and so Dream Catalyst, or Birth of a Dream Catalyst, is about a woman going through the struggle of what do I do now, where have I been, I don't know where to go from here. And there's personas in the book about that struggle.
Do you mind if I just read that part? I mean, read this page?
Yeah.
So Miss Competition was actually born Miss Compassion. Her heart breaks when she sees others in pain, and she has a hard time living in such a cold, dark world. Wow. I read it on my own, and I'm like,
It's a short book, but it's so you can read it in short and exciting.
But that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't want to give anything away, but definitely please go out and get that book. I'm sure that you'll really benefit from it.
And there's so I have two websites. One's called mydreamcatalyst.com, and My Dream Catalyst is for this book specifically. And on that website, there's you have an opportunity to take a quiz, and that quiz will tell you which persona you are. And so that's not to define who you are, but that's to say, okay, where you're at right now, here's some things that you might be struggling with. And that's a free quiz online.
It's like 10 questions.
It's 10 questions, yeah.
I took the quiz. and that's how I know. I won't tell you, yeah, Miss Work Ethic is what I got, but I did take the quiz. And I do know that you geared towards women, but I had a male client and I explained it to him. And I said, I really want you to take this quiz. Because it was right after I did it, because it was so eye-opening on what it addressed. And it, like you said, it may not be specific to you in particular because of the questions, but I think it will open your eyes to some additional things as it did mine as far as the perfectionism is concerned. So definitely a valuable tool. Please go check it out on our website.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I might target women, but I have a lot of men that read some of my blogs and that read my book because the struggle is the same.
It is.
You know, I just happen to focus on Christian women, but there's a lot of men that read my stuff.
Well, I don't feel so bad.
Yeah.
Look, I read it and I substituted her for him when I did it.
Well, I was thinking about actually making a book that was for men. I just haven't done it yet, but that was an idea to have the different characters for men because it resonates with them as well.
That would be a great idea, definitely. So I know that as you target, or your target market is women, what have you identified as being the greatest need for the people you are trying to reach?
I think there's multiple needs. I think the greatest need is women to give themselves permission to dream. You know, there's the husband, there's the kids, there's the parents, there's the niece and nephew. There's so many things that women take care of that they seem to lose themselves. I mean, if you look at the divorce rate from people that have been married 20 years, when the kids leave, the divorce rate's high. A lot of it's because people don't know who they are. And so I think that the biggest need is for people to spend time to realize what their dreams are. It doesn't have to, you don't have to start a business, you might just start crafting, you might just do woodworking, you might do something that you love, but it's been missing from your life. And so I think the biggest need is really that realization of what is that dream for me. I think sometimes the hardest part is to know, what are my dreams? You know,
Definitely.
what is missing from my soul, what things do I need to do or God want me to do?
And that is very important. And also to touch on what's on your website, in addition to finding those out, you also mentioned to overcome emotional obstacles. How does that play into the people you have coached or even in your personal life? How important is that to overcome those emotional obstacles, kind of to break that barrier down to get to those dreams?
Well, it's huge, and so my other website's dreamcatalysthome.com, and that's basically where I have blogs and access to my books and things like that. But the whole idea is that the emotional obstacles, we get in our own way. And so if we don't break those down, we won't reach our dreams. And so it's doing the self-work and doing the hard work of, okay, well, I know that I procrastinate. Or I know that I have too high expectations for myself. I run into perfectionism. These things are stealing my freedom. And so to me, removing emotional obstacles are probably the number one thing. I guess I'm answering the other question again.
No, that's fine.
The number one thing that really helps people fulfill their dreams. That's the hard part.
It is the hard part.
Doing the work is the easy part.
But uncovering that dream. And like I said, the client that I had that did the quiz, he said, I don't know how to dream anymore. And some people who do know how to dream may take that for granted. Because there's some people who have no hope, they're hopeless, and they don't know how to dream. And I think that when you come across that, how do you suggest for someone to just kind of open up the I can dream again focus? How do you do that?
I think there's a couple of different techniques. You can try to start a dream board with things that you like. You can journal. You can look at other people's dreams and things that they've done. You can think back of, what did I like when I was a child? What are things that make me laugh now? You know, if I have one thing to do all day, what would I do? And really just spend some time on it. But don't force it, because if you force it, then you're going to be upset because you don't know what your dream is. But just spend some time on it. And I think it's a process, so you're not going to spend some time on it and right away know. It takes time.
It does. It does take time. And I know you had mentioned in a video on your website how you felt like your brother had his hand on your forehead, and you were just swinging. I mean, and I'm sure people who are listening now, and even in the studio audience, can identify with that frustration. And what was the biggest step that you took to break down that frustration, to break that barrier down?
That's a good question. I think that I always explain it, it's like you have so many emotional obstacles and things in your closet, and all of a sudden your closet gets so full it just won't hold anything else, and so it explodes. And so you have to work on the things as they come out, as they explode. Ideally, you work on them before that happens. So for me, it was kind of all the combination of not knowing what my dreams were, feeling burned out, not knowing what my next step was in life, and I just got frustrated. And so the frustration kind of propelled me to start Dream Catalyst and to start writing and start doing these things.
And I think, I mean, day-to-day life, like you said, you get frustrated, you get overwhelmed, and you're just in this routine, a routine that you're like, I have to break free. And because you won't be able to think otherwise. But it is important, as you stated, it doesn't have to be a lot of time, as Mary said. Just take a few minutes a day to think about that and devote your time to that. But I know you have that book.
I was going to show you this real quick. So talk about breaking free. There's this one picture from the book that I love. If I can find it. So basically, I'm not able to find it quickly.
Oh, that's okay. You guys should really see the pictures in this book. I've never seen a book like this, and this is intriguing. Because I'm a visual person, as you're looking for this, and some people are visual.
Yeah, I'm very visual.
Yes.
So this picture explains how I felt.
Oh, she's about to throw. That's a laptop?
Laptop.
About to throw the laptop. Yes, and for those of you who have 2 or 3 screens at work, and
Yeah.
you're back and forth like this.
Yep, you get to the point where you're like, okay, what's next? I'm done.
You do, and if you walk down the hall of some companies, all you see is people just at a screen, just day in and day out, just,
And for some people, they like it.
they do.
And that's fine.
They
And
do.
everyone has different things that they're good at.
This is true, but it's also good to find what you were created to be, what gifts God gave you, as Mary stated. So again, you were showing that book, but could you show us the other book? Because you know you're an author, so what other books have you written?
So I have written The Birth of a Dream Catalyst. I've been a contributing author for a book called Success Powered by Relationships.
We know a couple of people whose pictures are on the front of that.
Authors that are local. So that book is about how we all define success differently. It's a great book. I think there's, how many authors?
21.
21 authors
21
who are
authors.
contributing to it. So that's
Wow.
a great book. That's also for sale on my website. In this book, five ways to discover the life you were born to live. This is actually an ebook that you can get free off my website, and it's to help you dig in and discover the things to really help you find those dreams. So it has exercises and things to go through to help you really discover what am I good at? What do I want to do? What are those dreams? So if you're stuck, this is a really good resource. And then
Excellent.
right now I have 2 books in the works. So I'm going a different route. I'm going toward the traditional publishing route, and one is called, what is it called? It's called God's Warrior, a 40-day devotional, and the other one's called Freedom A to Z. So those are some things I'm working on.
Okay, yeah, and I do have a question. So I saw the My Dream Catalyst logo. I love the logo on your website. And only thing that I think of when I see it is the strong woman with the sword and the shield, and I imagine faith and the Bible, because as Christians, that is our armor. What was the idea behind the new logo, or that logo on your website?
Yeah, that's the new logo, so that's the old logo. So I rebranded this year.
Okay.
So Dream Catalyst has gone through 3 logos. So
Entrepreneur journey.
Entrepreneur
yeah.
journey. So I spent a lot of time getting back to my why. What am I actually doing? How am I actually helping people? So everything that I write and everything that I do is to help women fight for their dreams. And so the fight and part of the journey, the fight for your faith and just fighting every day to get to where you want to go, it's a big deal. And so with that, I worked with a very good artist, and she did all the design work. And so I said, I want a warrior, but I want it to be feminine. And so she nailed it.
She did
She
nail
nailed
it.
it.
That
Yeah.
flowing hair with the, I mean, it's strength in there, but it is that soft. Oh, I love it. I love the logo.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
And you mentioned warrior, so that is, that's the next question. That was right in line. So you have spoken word called I Am Warrior, and I will ask you to explain it, but I think what stood out for me was the expectation of trouble, pain, and chaos. And could you just explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think so. I'm a Warrior is a spoken word poem. It's on iTunes. The whole idea is, or the whole part of that is that when we're on our journey, we can't expect it to be cushy the whole time. And so if we know we're gonna fail, we know there's gonna be problems, why not embrace it? And so I think to expect trouble, to expect pain, to expect chaos. And Christ warned us about that. He went through it himself. So if you're not gonna get anything for free, right?
Right.
So if you're gonna go after your dream, you're gonna have struggles. And I think part of that poem in that particular section is to say, hey, I'm gonna take that on. I'm gonna embrace that. It's gonna be hard, but I'm gonna do it anyways.
Yes, can we clap for that? So warrior, I think that a lot of women need to hear this message today, that and to interact with you with the Dream Catalyst, because you do have to be a warrior. The obstacles that we see, even in our immediate Dayton area, I mean, you have to overcome things and keep going and persevere. And that is in your, does it say faith and persevere, encouraging others? What is that? Is that the beginning of your website?
Yeah, it says to encourage others to have the faith and to persevere through faith.
To persevere through faith, and it is about perseverance and being a warrior. So what is next? What's next for Mary Miller? That is your name, isn't it?
Yes,
Mary R. Miller tonight. No.
So what's next is I have those 2 new books in the works. There's also another book I've started writing. So I have about 4 book projects right now.
Wow.
2 of them are ready to be published, so I'm looking for a literary agent right now. My first book, I went with a smaller publisher house. I'm looking for a traditional.
Are you listening to this?
Yeah.
Yes,
So I'm looking
yes.
for a literary agent. But both are, so my focus has changed a little bit. So my Dream Catalyst was about the career, it was about finding your dreams and trying to figure out what you wanted to do. I'm still in that vein, but my faith, I couldn't get any further with my Dream Catalyst without my faith. And so all my new books are really focused on that faith and focused on the faith journey combined with the dream, where it wasn't before.
Okay, so how important is that, do you believe, in finding your gifts and going for that dream? How important can it be for someone's faith, just in case someone's watching that doesn't have a faith foundation?
I think it's critical, and I think everyone has their own views of religion and different faiths and things like that. It's just that, for me, Christianity was only faith where the Savior died for us. And so
And then rose again.
And then rose again.
Our Savior rose again, He's alive. Yes.
But that sacrifice and then that's not where it ends, that's really where
Right.
it begins.
It is.
So, so I think the part of the faith in your journey it's critical. And I don't know, I've grown so much in my own journey with my faith and my relationship with Christ. And really, when I had my Dream Catalyst, I was growing that faith. And so I'm in a lot different place now. And so as any other creative person, that flows through in my work.
And that's beautiful, because we're meant to flow, right? From faith to faith and from glory to glory. So that's awesome, definitely awesome. So what words of wisdom, Mary, do you have for any current business owners or future entrepreneurs that are looking to just step out on faith?
I think what I would say is that you have the gifts that God gave you to use them. That might be scary, and you're gonna fail. And
you will fail.
Yeah, you will fail, but nobody fails you only fail if you're doing something, right?
Right.
So I'd say step out, and really what I said earlier was God gave you gifts to use. It's your responsibility to use them because you have what somebody else needs.
Definitely.
So you
definitely.
don't know what your dream, how it's gonna affect other people. And so there might be somebody waiting in the wings just for you to do that. That's what I would say.
No, and I believe that. I believe that. I mean, even with the body of Christ, there's people with gifts, and we're all supposed to work together. So if you're not in your place and you haven't identified your gifts, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult to reach people, to get them emotionally stable, especially in this time. But, well, excellent. I know we are not. We're at the end.
We're at
of
the
this
end.
segment. We are. That was just.
You made it painless. Thank you.
Thank you. I love learning about what you are doing, what you have done, what you have coming up. And so I just want to thank you, Ms. Miller, for being our featured guest here tonight at the Backhouse. Are there any parting remarks that you would like for our studio audience and the people watching to know?
No, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank you, and thank Tara and the Backhouse and Maryland, and just appreciate the opportunity. So.
Great. Yes, well, as always, we thank you all for joining us with our featured guest, Miss Mary R. Miller, Dream Catalyst. A big thank you, as always, to the owners of the Backhouse, your hospitality venue where you are the main event. And our segment sponsor, Marilyn Caparini with Kangen Water. Change your water, change your life. Make sure you join us next Thursday at 7 p.m., where it's always live at the Backhouse. Season 3, we will continue this experience with our studio audience, so you're eventually going to have to come out and see what happens after the live wind down. And my name is Coach V. I want you to be blessed and have a great night. Thank you for joining us.